Hello, hello, hello. All right, we are live. Let's do this. There it goes. All right, here we go. How about that? All right, so it is live. It is Tuesday. Dungeon Crate Live. Sorry it's a little late today. I had some appointments and was getting stuff done. And so we had to go a little late today. Hopefully everybody can join us still. Let's see who's on right now. Pete Del Toro, Curtis Glenn, Nick Siegler, Jarvis, Chris. Good to see you there. Floyd, Marshall. Boom. Yes. Oh, in Alaska. Nice. Marshall's in Alaska. Is that right? Yeah, I mentioned that, Floyd. I mentioned that I was late. So, I wouldn't leave you. Doug DeMarco's on. Tim Roberts, Linda, and Miguel. Excellent. All right. We're here. You made it. This is it. Fun stuff to tell you about today. Things are coming in. We've got winners from last week. I do, right here. I've got prizes for this week, which will be fun. And, I got some news and updates. See what's going on here. So, let's see here. Anybody have any gaming going on this weekend? That is something I wasn't able to do. I had gigs all weekend. No gaming for me. So, as always, if you're just joining us or, the drill on this, feel free to share this with your groups, on your own page or whatever you'd like to share. And if you comment, we always do a prize for one lucky commenter every week right here on Dungeon Crate Live. So, we've got some cool prizes, got some new stuff to show you. And feel free to share this. Let's get people watching. And in there, I've got orders going on. I've got some orders. We'll be shipped out a bunch of orders yesterday from the online store. And so that's kind of first what I'd like to talk about. I'm going to put this over here. Online store stuff. We got some new things happening on the online store. So I'll be posting some stuff there and sending out an email. So make sure that we don't go into spam on that. But let's. I was thinking. First off, I just like to show you some of the new stuff that I've been posting up there. I'm starting to purchase some more items that we can kind of beef up the online store, so that people have some things that they can purchase if A, they don't have a subscription, or B, they're waiting for their subscription in between times. Adventure Vaults are here. We got new stuff for the Adventure Vaults. If you get one of those, again, those are only $20 and no subscription needed for that. But brought in some more featured Reaper stuff for now. And then this is just my order from Reaper, but you can't really see them much, but they're on the site. Yes. The Not Mind Flayer. Of course, we can't use that name. The Balatheon. Now, we've had, I believe, this in the crate before. It was one of the from the Whiskers in the Dark. Now, I really like those minis, too, so I brought in not only some of the what would be Mind Flayers, but are Illithids, but are actually Bathalions. And Oxidation Beasts, you know what those guys are? Boom. So you can see that nice blurry photo right there, the nice blurry video for you. So I have a bunch of these up there, too. Those also are included. You'll need to buy more than one, unfortunately, for the Whiskers in the Dark one. Spoiler alert. And of course, Doug wants to know what's in this month's crate. Fireball! Urgh! That was truly a super fun game. Because we ran Whiskers in the Dark at Gen Con. Doug was there for that one as well. Roger was there too. I don't know where he is. He's not on here yet. Also, I've got these that I wanted to bring in because I love spiders. So we've got some giant spiders available online now. I got a grip of those in. And we got these special edition Lewin Fost Wizards. These are the Dungeon Dweller metal ones. These are $12 minis, which I thought was like, wow, okay. Well, but that's what Reaper's selling them for. So that's what they're up on there on the online store. Now, all of these items you might be able to find in an Adventure Vault. You never know what you're going to get, but I do like to pull some back and give you guys some stuff like that. Now, also, I got in the overstock, so of course I've got more of the black. See, can you see that? There we go, the black and red dice, and this one comes with an awesome cracked case. You don't find that all the time. This is makes them more badass. Urgh. And what else do I have here? Oh yes, and because of that, these fancy cotton candy dice, which I thought were neat. See how blurry that is? That's like my normal vision. So I've got just a few sets of these. I think maybe 4 sets on the store right now. If you like those kinds of dice. Now, the other thing I do is I like to, and this is really just because I think it's fun, but I buy pounds of dice from Chessex, and they always have all these different sets. And so what I like to do is be able to offer some dice, at least some dice, random dice in different adventure vaults, and sometimes as bonuses to different purchases from the online store. But I like going through them all. I got to tell you, it's like going through coins. But you get all sorts of different dice. So what I'm putting together now are some random sets from these pounds of dice that I just think are cool. So these are like completely full set of dice, but random sets. So they're not matching sets at all. But some of them are pretty sweet. I like looking through them all and finding fun different ones that might match ones I already have, or I can just grab this set and go. Each one is different. So for those of you that like different sets, odd sets of dice, I'm going to have these dice gem bags ready to go here shortly. And never know what you're going to get. They're all closed up, so I don't even know what I'm giving you. But each one does contain 7 dice, and it's a full set of the Chessex, and it could be from a number of the different dice they have. And they put in a pretty big random selection, so some of the dice are specialty, some of them are not, some of them, but it's just really fun to go through and look at all the stuff. So these are going to be really fun, just dice jewel bags that we're going to put in there. Because the gnomes got drunk again on the whiskey, and they just didn't do what I said and put all the dice together in sets. They just threw them all in a bag. So that's what you're going to get, unfortunately. So there you go. All right. Oh, pizza shop. Chris is opening up the pizza shop. All right. Yes, cotton candy dice. Tiffany. So, and that's the other thing, too. So I'm starting to purchase, we were talking about Tiffany right here, liking the cotton candy dice. Well, she's going to also be, I'm going to be getting some, in fact, I have a picture I will show you that's on my list for purchasing some more soaps for you. We've got really cool stuff that some of the makers are doing. And I am getting ready to purchase, once we get this crate going in here, this will be the first month that we're taking back the fulfillment, being able to fulfill this ourselves here in our own facility, and super excited for it. And I'm also bringing in a lot more stuff, hopefully, to the online store. So I've got this rolling up there too, and that's just all in anticipation of the launch of the Lords of Adventure and War Games online store, which will be just part of that. Dungeon Crate is going to be a product of Lords of Adventure and War Games, of course. That's what it kind of is already set up as. So yeah, I'll be able to then order a whole lot more stuff. And I'm just running into a lot of really cool people that are, and especially after Gen Con, that there are things that I couldn't necessarily put in the crate, but I can certainly offer you. And instead of you going around and looking for a bunch of stuff, that's kind of why I like to run into the Reaper and pull out a few things and showcase them on our store in limited quantity, just so you're like, oh yeah, I didn't even know they had that, or oh, I discovered this one, or I forgot about that one. So boom, there you go, you can purchase it. I never really, I don't post anything. I mean, you pay for the shipping from our online store. I always throw in, of course, a few extras. You guys, anybody that's purchased anything from us knows. By us, I mean the people in my head, but anything, you always get a few little bonuses, which is always nice. But I really do like to find some other makers and really showcase, use our reach to showcase some new and exciting products that are out there that are people are making, that are coming up with. We're also coming up with a lot of our own stuff. In fact, I have to do this today, but 2 of the adventures now, our 2 newest adventures, Inverted Invocations and A Shady Situation, will be available on our online store. And you'll be able to purchase those, the smaller booklets, the 12-page deals. So those will be ready for you. So when I get those up, I've got plenty of those. We are, because of the quantity that we order right now, we're going to be able to have a pretty decent overstock. What we don't sell online, we do. I am trying to work with some of In fact, some of the people out there that you guys are that are watching, youth groups, things like that, I want to be able to donate some of these extras that we have, especially if they're like the inserts with the dungeon tiles on the back. I'd like to donate some of that stuff to some of the youth groups out there that are playing D&D, or people that are getting some kids together to teach them how to game, which is some of the stuff I want to talk about today, and I will be talking about on the D&D 5e podcast as well. So, Amanda, good to see you. Good morning, Bunny. How are you? So, yeah, so I'm excited about that. I'm excited about a lot of things that are actually happening in this. Right now, it's just a crazy time for Dungeon Crate. I'm going to tell you that we have a lot of projects in the air, a lot of them that are this close to launching, but some that we can't at the moment because of other circumstances that have come up, great circumstances. So that's all. It's all happening, but it's all we have to organize this very carefully. Whereas before, we were pretty much just moving forward with everything that we were trying to do. And now it's kind of like, oh, we've got to encompass some of this other stuff too. So it's pretty cool stuff that's coming up, and I'm excited to be able to tell you about it. I can't tell you about all the stuff now. Some of you might know, some of you might have a clue as to what's going on or what will be going on. Just some fun stuff that we're doing. We're doing a huge Black Dragon Friday promotion, which will be a giveaway. And we are going to be working with some people on some other stuff on an upcoming crate. Guest curated crate, I'll put it that way. We've got a guest curated crate that should be coming up here soon. And more information on that as we actually nail this all down. But it'll be pretty fun, pretty exciting. I'm pretty stoked about it. That said, I'll have to do a live and take you down when we're starting to pack and stuff like that. You got to see this whole thing. Right now, we've got everything pretty concentrated. I'm looking for an actual building that we can move our all of our inventory into, so that we can do the store and we can do our packing and everything like that, all in our own building. So that would be fun. Spiders. I know. I'm being quiet. Don't worry about it, Floyd. So yeah, stuff is coming up, and especially for the end of the year. So one thing that we're having now for this month, we still have our first run of boxes. You'll be getting this August crate in the regular Dungeon Crate box, but we do have a new box design. I can release that right now because we've ordered it. It's coming, and I'm pretty excited about the new box design. Thanks to Matt from Dungeons, who is working with us on that and has developed a new box. And I think you're going to dig it as well. This company is going to allow us to change our box if we want to. So we'll have a standard box that you'll get pretty much every month. But also now we can say if we've got a nice Christmas theme going on and we want to change up the box to reflect that, we can do that. We can do that on for 1 month and do a few different things. So now is the time to be involved in Dungeon Crate. Definitely, if you're already a subscriber, then you are lucky because fun things are coming up. So new products that we've found, new vendors that we found, new people and partners that we're working with. That's coming up, and we're already getting things together for the September crate, which if you've seen on our Facebook page, Hell and High Water, another Floyd adventure. So it's got the warning on it, just letting you know. It's like the inverted invocations. Has anybody tried the inverted invocations one yet? Have you guys run that? Have you set anything up? Todd Austin, good to see you. Have you done anything prop-wise for it as far as, the challenges that have to go in that particular module? Let us know about that. If you do, you can just post it on this Facebook page, or you can go to our group page, the Adventurers Guild, and that's where everybody kind of posts some of their figures, their adventures, their stories, what's happening in their campaign, all that kind of stuff. It's our fun community of subscribers and non-subscribers, just really RPG fans. So yeah, new box design is coming up. Very happy. What do you guys think? I'm assuming that you've gotten now at least 2 of the new modules that we have. So give me some feedback on that. If you've got feedback on the adventure, what do you think of the adventure? What do you think of the amount of content that's in there? Have you played through our adventures, and do you like the way that it's set up and it's formatted? And that's kind of the biggest deal for me. Not only do we have enough encounters in there that they're exciting, that they're open-ended so that you can actually take them and modify them how you wish, but also can you open it up, go through it, and easily run this without a whole lot of preparation? That's what I'm kind of wanting to find out. Storylines, things like that. Is it tying? Are you kind of using our Halcyon world, and are you tying stuff into that? I'd love to hear more about that as well. And I know that there's still getting caught up from being gone for almost a week. It's seriously, there's a lot to do, and also all the stuff that we're bringing up. We are, like I said, getting into a whole bunch of stuff. So we're trying to pre-write some adventures and filling in our Halcyon world. So if you've run our adventures before, let me know. Leonardo, good to see you. Especially because everybody that writes it is all right around here. So we've got one more coming up, Hell and High Water, and now we're working on. Well, there's an October box that we're going to be doing an adventure for that should be pretty interesting. Now, I will say this Halloween is one of my favorite holidays, and one thing that I kind of am leaning towards on this particular October box is a kind of a specialty horror style. We are, for the most part, pretty family friendly, I would say, as far as the content that we had. Although our Drink or Die module, that was kind of out there. I would say that was probably not appropriate for anybody that was going to actually do what we wanted to done in that adventure, unless they're 21 or over. So that was kind of leaned on that. We do have a lot of adult themes in our modules a little bit. So which is fine because, hey, that's how many of you are out there playing D&D when you were watching the whole satanic thing about how awful D&D was and how it was turning kids into corrupt cult members of a satanic cult. Well, how many of you actually became satanic members of some sort of cult? Right? So easy. All you had to do was play D&D. So I will say that in October, wow, that's a hair. We're trying to come up with kind of an adult-themed adventure, and we're still in the process of really putting some of those things together. But the adult-themed adventure, I think, is going to be fun. I want this to be kind of old school, kind of like the controversial kind of theme, but something scary, something mysterious, and something really appropriate for Halloween. We are now really getting our feet in our Halcyon world. We're getting them all set, so we're gonna have all sorts of different things. We're gonna really have some fun darkness coming up. You can shoot at the darkness if you want. Yeah. That was it. That was me back in 84, 83. We were playing a game, a D&D game at my buddy's house, and the TV was on, and it was one of those televangelist shows that showed the kid who's now dressed up in a nice little suit, and he was telling us all about how Dungeons and Dragons was just nothing but a satanic cult, and it was awesome. So we were playing while we were watching that, and we felt pretty badass. Yeah, we did. We felt like we were pretty badass nerds, kind of like in a secret cult that wasn't a cult. I guess we were kind of in a cult. I don't know, but anyways, you know what I mean. And that was pretty fun. Oh, really? Sarah Cheney says that her mom got pissed at her dad for buying her the AD&D Player's Handbook. Ooh, controversy right there. What's in your mugs, people? I have the handy. Wish it was a left-handed mug. Mugs too. Hey, by the way, I'm getting a few samples, and I'll have it hopefully by next week. Some mug samples. I purchased some, and I wanted to look at maybe getting more. The vendor that I have really isn't like a wholesale vendor, so these aren't necessarily super inexpensive. But I got a few that I want to try out, want to show you, find out, get some really cool coffee mugs, get some actual coffee and contemplation mugs that we can put up for sale. We find a good vendor that we could do that with. It gives us the packaging that we need to be able to send them on to you. We want to make sure that some places they have really cool mug boxes that you can make sure that they don't break or anything like that. So that's another thing that we're putting on the online store. Hopefully, in the future, will be more like RPG just merch that we can have made. That I guess anybody can have made, but maybe we can offer it a little less expensive. I like all that kind of stuff. We've got things like the Dungeon Crate mouse pad in different iterations, and of course, the DC mugs and the shirts, but also things that are going to be non-branded. Because I know, not everyone wants to walk around with some company's logo all over the place. But what I'd like to do is make some that are really sweet, role-playing centric designs and fun stuff like that. And we have a lot to choose from all the adventures that we've had, all the artwork that we've got going on. So, yay. Oh, what else do I have? QuakeCon. Nice. Yes. So Sarah, yes, her mom now understands. Oh no, Leonardo, a paper cup of lameness. Oh, that's too bad. So yeah, let's do this while we're here. I've got a couple of things here that I was giving away. So I've got this really cool flipper coin. Some fun buttons and some other things. It also includes another Dungeon Cat toy, as I like to say. I feel so bad using this on Dungeon Cat because he really gets into it and he is determined to get this red dot. And yet when I turn it off, he just looks so like, I don't know. I think the self-talk going on inside my cat's head might not be positive when that happens, and I feel guilty about it. Then he forgets about it because his brain's the size of a walnut. But I still feel bad. He really wants to catch it. I wish I could have like a little red bead or something just to give to him. So say, there you did it, buddy. All right, so let's announce this winner. You guys ready? You know what to do. Let's get some drum roll, please. Let's get the drum roll rolling. And we've got a little random prize package for one lucky winner. Let's see who it is. I gotta wait for the lag. There's a little delay between my monitor and my actual OBS here. Right, he wants that. He wants the XP. He needs the actual exercise. He doesn't need XP. He needs exercise. So that's kind of the end goal. It's for his own good, but I still feel bad. All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Dun, dun, dun. That's not it. Here we go. Ready? And boom. There it is. Rolled on the dice tower of power back there. And it looks like Nick Siegler is our winner today. Nick, you won. Bum, bum, bum. Congratulations. Now, next week, I will say, so for the prize for this time, if you're commenting now, you are, of course, in the running for a prize. And what I've got now, I want to say thank you to 1980 who gave us some more of these sweet D20 with a matte cover notebooks, adventure journals. You want to see what's inside? It's just lined paper. These are really cool. I had to hold back a couple of these because I do use these in my game. Also, and I got this from Gen Con as well, from Hogarth's Hoard. Rogarth's Hoard. This is a hit point counter. You can use this in Magic the Gathering. You can use this for your character. You can use this for Kings of War, I'm assuming, whatever. But it's a cool hit point counter. I kind of dug the design. I think that would be cool. And on top of that, you get this from Campaign Coins. It is their D20 flipper. So these three are going to be up for grabs for next week. So one lucky winner will get that. So congratulations today. All right. All right. Boom. There we go. You won. Yay. All right. So Doug, want to know about some of the stuff that's going in? One of the reasons why I wanted to bring fulfillment back here was so that A, we had control. B, I like adding extra stuff sometimes. So you're gonna find starting this month, once in a while, you might find something that's in your crate that's not on your insert. And that is that's a Gremlin bonus item. It won't be explained. You will not know. And of course, it won't have any identification. But we're going to have, you might find some extras in there. And when that happens, and yay, share it. Let people know. But that's one reason. The other thing is that I can get the products ahead of time. I can get them in my hand. I can know, some of the quality. Like these are cool. I like the laser pointer. I like the fact that it had what I wanted a ruler on it as well. You've got your light and your laser. Plus, they did it specially for inverted invocations. As you can see, they printed that, which isn't anything super fancy. Anybody can have that done. But it was kind of neat, though, when we can tie together a product directly with one of our adventures. But that said, you're still buying in bulk. So I quality control. I want to make sure that everybody's works. And we ran into some that did not work. Thank you to Northwest Paper Box, who's fulfilling our product on this one, that they found some and they checked every single one to make sure that it works. If for some reason yours doesn't, and what I did is I found some more that were, mainly it was batteries. They must have had these in storage, and so you have to replace the batteries and all that stuff. So I have a bunch that I need to replace batteries in, but otherwise, I want to check for the quality. I want to make sure that the stuff works, that it's not cheap. And when it's being shipped directly from the manufacturer, from the wholesaler to our fulfillment center, I don't get to get hands-on the product until everybody does, until I get my overstock back, which isn't ideal. I don't think it's doing a good service to you guys, and it's certainly not helping. I mean, even though my people in Northwest Paper Box were really good with the quality control, they're not going to be able to make any snap decisions if we need to reorder or not put something in the crate that is going to make it look shoddy. So, and then I can kind of showcase some items too. I want to start doing that more. I know that some people really want to keep the secrecy of it, and we do too. I want to keep the mystery going on with the crate, but I also I think Doug has a point. Sometimes it is kind of fun to see what might be featured, or maybe there's here's the one featured item that we can throw up there that you might want to get this crate for. So in an effort for that, I can show you some of the stuff. Ooh, I can show you. Oh, this is how big. Yeah. So here's the thing with this crate. I can't tell you this much with it. There are going to be a few randoms in there because I dig it. And this one is the Formidable Foes. Wait, Formidable Foes. Yeah, that one's going out. Yes, Formidable Foes. So we have random encounters for you. So Formidable Foes is going to be a compilation that Kevin's put together that will have a lot of different creatures and encounters for you to battle. And I wanted to get some items, some figures that would do that as well. Now, sometimes you can't get I can't get the amount of figures that I want for everybody to have the same thing, which is kind of a bummer. And I got kind of like, I want that to not be a thing, but it is. I thought, okay, for this time, we're going to have 3 options. I brought in 3 different large figures, and you are going to get one of those. You won't know which. It's not going to be designated. I am mixing them all together, and we're going to start fulfilling. You're going to get one of them. I will say I got all 3 here, though. Listen to that. Does this have any designations? It doesn't. So 2 of them are this big. What is that? The other one is this big. But we'll just say that the back of it is, it's a big model. I don't know why they didn't put the other ones. Well, I could see a little bit why. These will take assembly. But I'll just tell you that the 2 sizes equal awesomeness as far as the figures go. So I wanted to put in, since it was a Formidable Foes, we were thinking about, I want to put in some bigger models. And a lot of the stuff we've got going in this time, I will say, is not well. I mean, different sizes of stuff. We have, of course, the adventures, the inserts. We've got another item that is a specialty item that's out there that we're pretty excited about that's going in there. I can't really say what that is. And, we like to kind of mix it up with some different things. So, yes, and you might even get, I might even say this time, you might even get something that's going to be metal and shiny from a certain company that you haven't gotten anything from before. So, yes, big ones here. All right, so here's the deal, too, with the model. So you're going to get these randoms, right? So you're going to get one of 3. Now, on the insert, it will have what the other 2 are. So you're going to know what was out there. Now, if you've already got one, say you get it, and you're like, oh, I've got this one already, but I want the other one. We can go back. Remember when the Adventurers Guild was the trading post? There you go. Post it on this site, post it on the Adventurers Guild. If you're not a member of the Adventurers Guild, get on there, and then you can trade them. So just do that. You'll find somebody that's got one of the models that you don't have, and you're like, hey, I need that. Or maybe you want another one of what you've already got, and somebody just wants one. There you go. Let's start trading back and forth. And then let's paint these up. They're bigger, hopefully easier to paint. I'm going to be doing one of them as maybe a tutorial, a little video, or maybe a time lapse or something, and try and give you some good ideas. I'd love to see more of the painting. I love it when you guys start posting on the Adventurers Guild your figures for painting, because it really gives everybody a great idea. And if you're really into crafting, you want to do more. You want to, as far as figure painting, as far as terrain, things like that. The Tabletop Crafters Guild, that is a fantastic group of amazing crafters that I've been a part of for a long time. And there you can find some amazing inspiration. Everybody that's part of that Tabletop Crafters Guild who's running it has their own video channels. DM Scotty, Black Magic Crafts, and DMG. They have their own channels that will show you how to make whatever you want to make, and it's really cool. And the community there is amazing, and it really inspired me to keep going with a lot of my crafting. So, and I did post earlier a picture of one of the things I did, which was the Zinvaders. I don't know if anybody got that game at Gen Con. If you have you played it? I want to try, and I haven't played it yet. I'm just painting up the miniatures, which are cool. They're about this big. Supposed to be actual size, so they come from their planet and they land in Earth. Well, Earth is giant to them, so you are playing anywhere on any surface, any tabletop. They have to avoid obstacles like this coffee mug and then work around cables and whatnot while they're trying to defeat the other team. I thought it was really fun. So they're actually here on our planet. So, they've somehow genetically melded with bugs or insects, so they have 4 arms and different features. So it's kind of, but they have cool guns and armor and stuff like that. So, yeah. So that's fun. I'm trying to paint those up as well. Now I do have an idea from that I'm developing that might work. Well, yes. Yeah. So we talked a little bit about one of the things I want to talk about on the D&D 5e podcast as well, and maybe the Dungeon Crate one, is about teaching people how to play. Teaching kids, working with kids, finding a way to bring kids into the RPG realm without having to throw down 3 giant tomes of information on them. So one thing that I really want to talk about on the D&D 5e podcast is that I want to talk to parents that are running their kids through games. How did they get started? How did you get started in D&D, and how old were you? And how old are some of the new players now when they are, say they're getting 8 or 10 or 12? They might start getting into role playing, and what are some experiences that those kids have had? I would certainly like to get some interviews done with a couple of kids that I know that just started getting into it maybe a year ago, and that way they can kind of share their excitement about role-playing games. But that said, what if you have really young kids, but you don't have any type of system besides, say, the early D&D system on how to really get them involved? I'm really trying to work on something that will allow kids to develop role-playing in a way that's kind of in conjunction with the parents, so that the parents necessarily aren't the enemy, the foe. And how do you expose them to, say, a character sheet that is that is a little bit more simple. And as you go and as you need different things, you add that to the character sheet. That way it's completely digestible. I mean, it's funny. Every year when I go to Gen Con, I see all these different games, things like just all these different types of tabletop games, all these different role-playing games. And that's a thing at every convention, I realize. And everybody sits down and you learn to play the game and you get that. That's really not, I mean, I enjoy it when I do that, but it's not necessarily something that I am all about. I know a lot of people are. You love learning the rules. You love figuring out new games, and yeah, your world is wide open. You can play whatever you want. So part of them I want to do is finding a way to be able to show and teach people, whether it's somebody like Lori, who we wanted to do a D&D game with Lori and show her how to play, as well as say small children who are just getting into play, but they want to play. Say they're playing with their toys and their unicorns and their My Little Ponies and whatnot. And then as they get a few years older, they kind of wonder, what about the role-playing games and tabletop games and adventuring? And if they get into that, how do you show them without throwing down this whole book and saying, even a character sheet is daunting to some people. They look at it. And to me, learning a new game and seeing something like that and a character sheet really is intimidating right off the bat, because all you can do is look around at all the blanks that are on your character sheet rather than what you want to fill in. And then you forget what this means and where to find this and where to find this. So I've got an idea that I want to share that kind of should be able to help in this whole process, especially when you're talking to kids. And mainly I'm focusing on the kids because I've got a lot of people, and this is something I want to do as well, is be able to go and run some D&D games for youth groups or after school programs, things like that in your local area, where you can get a bunch of kids together and get them off their phone, get them off the video games, and give them at least a couple of hours after school of some really cool adventuring and just using their minds. And how, as a dungeon master, do you do that? As an adult dungeon master, running games with adults is a lot different than running games with kids, and especially having kids DMing those games for other kids. And it's something I think we forget. I think when we are playing as adults, you forget what it was like when you were a kid. You forget the fact that I can recall everything about most of the adventures I did when I was a kid. And we had no props, no gaming aids, really. Maybe some figures and maybe a piece of paper where we can draw out stuff, and we use just random items for the terrain or whatnot. But I remember everything. My DM described it in a way that I can still recall what Barrier Peaks, what the inside of Barrier Peaks was like. I can still recall what some of the scenarios I went through in the Isle of Dread or the Tomb of Horrors. Of course, they're classics, right? And they're classics for a reason, because they were described really interestingly. They were like a book where we were putting all those images in our heads. And so I think that's how kids actually learn a little bit more, because that's why they like video games. It's fed to them, spoon-fed. Boom, right there's your graphic. But when you're running a game, a lot of times as adults, we do it narrative. And it'll be just really matter of fact. It'll be, okay, well, you guys come up to a door. All right, thief. All right, thief comes over, rolls. Okay, boom, check. You unlocked it, popped up. You open it up. All right, it's a 10 by 10 room, and there is 2 mummies that are crawling out of the cage, and they come to attack. Okay, everybody roll initiative. All right, initiative. Who's first? You're first. All right, roll to attack. Boom. Okay, cool. What's next? And okay, and you go down like that, but that doesn't paint that picture in anybody's head, really. I mean, it might be fine as an adult. You're good with that because you already kind of got it going on. You got it. But for a kid that is unsure as to, they're very self-conscious. And what we kind of forget is that when you're awkward like that and you're a kid and you're getting into a game that used to be taboo, that you're getting into a game that uses acting now, that allows you to express yourself in a different way that people may not know or recognize. That in itself is intimidating. You don't want to look, you don't want to be embarrassed. You don't want to, but the beauty of kids, even younger than that, is that they don't care. They don't give a shit if they, like, I want to be a unicorn that shoots lasers out of my eyes. Okay. So, that's what they want. And they do not care about being embarrassed. And I think that's when you can catch them at a good place too. It's like, this is a way that you can create a story, that you can be creative in your own way. You can express yourself in many different ways, whether you act it out in your character, or whether you act it out, or whether you write it out in an adventure, or the way that you are presenting it to your players. All has to do with it. But also working with kids, you're going to want to be able to do it in a way that that keeps them engaged. What keeps them engaged? What would you do differently as running a game for, say, 12-year-olds or 10-year-olds than you would for 30 and 40-year-olds or 50-year-olds? So those are some of the things that I would like to talk about on the podcast. If anybody's got, of course, I know there's a few of you out there that do work with kids. If you do, and you've got a story or you've got something that I can talk about, feel free to go ahead and email me, wayne@dungeoncrate.com, or you can email, I believe it's dnd5e podcast@gmail.com. But shoot me over some stories about maybe some of your experiences in working with kids, or teaching somebody that even as an adult has never played before, but got interested in it. Because even as adults now, we are way more worried about being embarrassed sometimes, or self-conscious. Like, how much do you act it out? And how much, as now, look around at your players right now. As an adult, how do you play? Do you play as a narrative? Do you play like, well, Krogar does this, and then he does this, and then he'll pull out his battle axe and he'll attack the monster? Or do you mix it up a little bit? He says, "Sacred flame as I call down this spell in the power of my god." Do you get into it like that? Does your game master, DM, dungeon master, do they describe these places in a way that makes you want to listen to them? Are they too over the top? Are they too matter of fact? Things like that. You kind of take notice of what you're doing as an adult in those games, but then go back and think of what made those games so fascinating for you if you played when you were a kid. What made them fascinating? I mean, again, picturing everything in your head, being able to describe. So that's one thing that we really wanted to do with our own adventures at Dungeon Crate, was to be able to produce adventures that you can read, play easier, but really it's got a distinct storyline. And the text boxes, the flavor text that we give you, you can add on to, you can elaborate on, but should be interesting enough to paint a picture in your player's mind. I'm not a big fan of theater of mind playing at all. I'm in the business of accessories, man. I have all the stuff around me now I never could have as a kid that I always wanted and I thought would be cool. Too much. In fact, I can never play with all the stuff that I have, but I'm not a theater of mind player. I mean, I can. If you want to sit down and talk about it, we can just sit down and have a conversation about what happens, but I like a little bit of stuff to kind of represent, because I end up finding myself staring at those things. Like, even if it's not a, super detailed terrain, even if it's just very simple battle mat with the dungeon drawn out and your figures are on there and they're not even exactly look like what your character is, I always tend to look at it and I start painting that picture in my mind as people are talking. And as the game master is providing the environment for me and the reactions of the players and the other characters that are, what they're doing, I always paint that picture and I try and come up with a character. It's like getting out of your normal thing. And that's the best part, I think, for kids. You don't have to be this kid anymore that has these issues because you're a kid. You can be whatever you want here. You can be that if you're, you can be that super strong barbarian type, or maybe you can be that really intelligent wizard that can do things that you can never do in real life. And maybe that will inspire you to, and also inspires teamwork. You guys know all the cool things that come with role playing, and that's kind of the, another cool thing. I've got a couple of kids that I got them into role playing, and I send him some stuff from Dungeon Crate once in a while, and it's really cool to see how he's progressed and now has he's DMing his own game once a week with a bunch of friends. And that was simply because I visited my buddy's nephew, and we happened to be hanging out, and I had some DC stuff, and he thought it was really cool. And that was like his thing, and it's really fun to see that and to see what happens out of it, because then he'll start telling you about how they came up with their own adventures or their own monsters. They're creating their own types of characters now, new weapons, and it just spirals from there. So I think that it's really important for me anyways, is to be able to talk to people and to, talk to you, but also talk to other people who've done this as far as getting other people involved in role playing and the benefits of that. I did, I do share a couple of stories. But I'll say this on a podcast since you guys are listening now. But yeah, I mean, role playing to me is incredibly important as far as creativity and whatnot. I've told the story a lot. I had a friend of mine in my gaming group when I was a kid back in like '83. I had some brothers. One brother was the DM. He was like a writer. He used to love doing creative writing. And the other brother, he struggled in school. He was very dyslexic. He can barely read, just that bad. It just could not do it. He had to go to special schools and stuff. But Mike was awesome. And then we had a couple other guys that are still friends of mine now, and we used to play. And like I said, that's the group that was, we called ourselves the Lords of Adventure War Games, and that's what I named my company after all these years. That was the Lords of Adventure War Games based off of that. So Mike really wanted to play. He was only a couple of years younger than his older brother, who was our DM. But he really wanted to play, and on his off time, he really wanted to learn the rules. And so he would take the old Advanced Dungeons & Dragons book, and he would take his finger, and he would put it on there, and he would follow along that line. And he would read, and he taught himself how to read. Because he so much loved the game that he taught himself how to read by reading all the books, the core books, and he knew more rules than all of us. And yet he still had to go to a special school, but he really helped himself learn how to read just by playing that game. There was also an incident where he took a big handful of lead figures and threw them across the table over the DM screen at his brother, and then they had to go out and fight in the yard. That was fun. But I was always inspired by that. Because that was I don't know what other way he would have gotten the courage or the ability to get through life easier by just being motivated by a teacher showing him how to read in a certain style or read this book. And if he wasn't completely interested in it, it wasn't going to happen. So I always think that this is, and we were in high school at that point too. So this isn't even small kids. This is high school kids. And sometimes high school kids also need it more than the younger kids. They don't know they need this type of teamwork activity. They don't know they need this outlet for creativity. They don't know that they need that this is a way that they can become somebody else and learn from that person in their own, and take that and use that in their own life. They don't know how it would inspire them to do other things, whether it's writing, drawing, painting, playing music, maybe just being a better team player in their classroom or their work. So they just don't know. So to me, that was like, okay, well, he was so involved in this, and he so loved it and so wanted to be a part of it that he overcame a huge obstacle, which is crazy. But yeah, good old Mike. So here's to you, Mike. Unfortunately, years later, as an adult, Mike was murdered, and he was on Unsolved Mysteries. Talk about weird. If you've ever watched an actor portray one of your best friends begging for his life, it's a weird thing. So I tell this story to honor Mike in that way. He was, he kept gaming all his life, and until then, played a lot of different types of games, but I think just had kind of some issues in life. So, but the other thing is that I think a lot of us from that whole cultish kind of scenario when we were first starting to play these games, the game itself inspired us to do all sorts of stuff. Not only played games, I was able to, like in the fire department, play games. When we were down, we had to stay there overnight, so that was a perfect opportunity. That brought us together closer as adults too, in that particular situation where this guy next to you is pretty much you're putting your life in his hands and vice versa, and could also get killed in the line of duty easy. It takes you out of that, and I think it's super important, and it kind of maybe for different levels of age, whether it inspires little kids to maybe makes a teen feel less awkward and more socially accepted or determined, and whether it makes an adult come out of his shell and actually be able to get some sort of social enrichment by that. Role playing games to me are a great key and deal with all that. So yeah, so listen up. I'm going to try and get this rolling today on the D&D 5e podcast, and then I can actually publish it this week. Should be out by Friday. And you can check out that if you are interested in maybe some ideas that I have, and again, ideas that others have. So get this to me. If you guys have ideas, suggestions, I don't care how long it is or how short it is, email me, wayne@dungeonguide.com or dnd5epodcast@gmail.com, and I'll read them on the podcast. But it'll be all regarding the importance and how to teach either an adult or a kid, and vice versa. Part 1, part 2, possibly on teaching them role-playing games. So I just talked for a long time. All right, Mishi, good afternoon. Oh yes. But see, yeah. So write them down. Write this stuff down, because I know that everybody's really enthusiastic about this kind of stuff. So, yeah, there you go. See, and I think that's a great idea. So Jerry said that she'll be listening to that because it's something that she wants to do with her 11-year-old daughter, or with her 11-year-old. Sorry, I don't know if it's a daughter or not. Yeah, blind leading the blind. Learning a game together is also fun, especially because that way the person learning the game, especially if it's a child, does not really have that whole, well, wow, I am the dumb one here. You know everything, and yeah, you're getting frustrated because I'm not understanding it quite as well as you are. So that's also really fun to do, is to go along with somebody and learn the game together, see what you can do, and make mistakes together, as well as have epic victories. So if you've done that, send me an email, write it down. And you'll want to write it down anyways, because let's make it efficient. Let's get it distilled down to what really matters in that particular topic. What is the core of what did you really find that was the most important? Think about that and send that to me. Let me know. So the podcast I'm hoping to get out by Friday. What day is today? Tuesday. That's right. Tuesday and Wednesday. So I'll give you till Thursday, but really Wednesday, if you can get those into me if you want. If I get them, great. If I don't, that's all right. But stay tuned for that. So let's see here. We've talked about this. We talked about that. I got good old Frenchie going on the French press happening with the coffee. All right. Let's see. What else is everybody? There we go. The other part of that conversation that I will be putting up on D&D 5e as well, because this is also something that I've been kind of doing since we started, was the Dungeon Crate Cares. It's not like an official thing yet. I want to make it into a nonprofit. It would be cool. But I've talked to different combat veterans. Role-playing is great for I believe, and I found it that others find it very useful as far as PTSD, just dealing with different things if you're a combat veteran. Also, disabled. Think about gaming and with your eyes closed. Put on a blindfold and play a whole D&D session that way and see what would be handy to have. In fact, because that was one thing I didn't even think about. I got an email from a blind player once, and he's like, yeah, I've been blind for so many years, and here's what I have difficulty with. I have difficulty, of course, with dice rolling or keeping track of hit points, or how do I have that? Because you need to refer back to it. And so we were working on ways to find companies that would make Braille dice, that would make Braille character sheets that could be made or whatnot, or finding ways to do that for some of the disabled. Maybe they can't, maybe they're deaf. How would you play a role-playing game if you could not hear? So that's another thing too that I like to think about. And how can we provide items and products for people that have that issue? So I'm gonna, that's all kind of stuff to think about. So that's stuff I want to talk about on the show as well, and then get input from other people as to what how else we can help advance that, because that is I think that's super important, and especially for kids being and again, kids, you might want to give different So my whole point is when it comes to role playing, no matter what you play, if you play Pathfinder, if you play 5th edition, what I want to be able to do is be able to give these people that are brand new a way to learn that or work their way into it. So they start with this type of system that is pretty close, and then things pop in, and then it blows up so that, and maybe as your kid gets older, boom, they graduated to the actual core book. And then, of course, once they get into D&D, you are set for birthdays and Christmas. I'm telling you, it's awesome. My parents would give me D&D stuff, and you didn't have to worry about what they wanted to give, what I wanted or anything like that. And you get them into it, and boom, there you go. Easy peasy, Christmas sealed. Birthdays, done, deal. Oh, it makes life so much easier for the parent. So, all right, guys. Well, I think that's about done. I'm about done with all sorts of stuff. So, I appreciate you guys hanging in there with me as far as me being late today. I had to get my coif done. You can see I cut off my little thing in the back. Got tired of that. I am done with convention season, which means no more braiding of the hair and barbarian Viking ponytail. I'm just gonna go with more of the nice tailored look of a Norseman, that likes commerce, right? Because we were awesome commerce. We invented commerce. All right. Let's show some love to everybody out there. A lot of people out there. Everybody looks happy, but, let's keep them that way. And if you are at work and you're hating it right now, you don't want to be there, just take that word right out of your mind. All right? Everybody show some love to everybody. For today is Tuesday. It's not even hump day, but, we all have a game to look forward to. We all have fun stuff that we can, look forward to. And I didn't even talk about the crate. Like I said, we've got all the stuff pouring into here right now. So we should be shipping really soon. So by the next time I talk to you, most likely that's going to be around the shipping time. So there you go. Look forward to that. I will be giving you more updates. And since we're fulfilling here, you're going to be able to get some lives done as possibly we're fulfilling or getting it all set up and getting it ready. So yeah, it's all coming out. But in the meantime, I want everybody to have a good week between now and next Tuesday. More stuff that we're getting done. But yeah, if you guys get out there, see some sun, talk to some people, send some messages, and play some games. If your normal life is all kind of screwy and messed up, maybe play some games. Let me know. All right. Until next time, this is Wayne, and you're watching Dungeon Crate Live. That is right now about to end. So, all right, guys, take care. Let's play again. We can play this music again. All right.